All right, let's get cooking. Welcome to the latest edition of Chin Check Sports Radio. I'm your host, JD. I want to thank you all for taking the time out to join us. And as always, we welcome any suggestions, feedback, comments, and criticisms, which improves the quality of our program, which ultimately improves your listening experience. On this particular edition, I wanted to talk about the ongoing contract negotiations between the Dallas Cowboys and its star quarterback, Dak Prescott. Now, my good buddy McKnight texted me this morning that the Cowboys offered Dak Prescott a contract of $100 million guaranteed, $33 million a season, but terms of the deal were not yet disclosed because there is a deadline next week that if a contract is not reached, the Cowboys will use a franchise tag on Dak Prescott, making him the top five earner at his position, as what the franchise tag requires. And there's many thoughts on it. Of course, everybody in the mainstream sports media has offered their opinions on it. And I've sat back for a while and watched what people had to say. Of course, as I watched, I was getting upset and feeling insulted by that. Other athletes have made comments. Other past Dallas Cowboy greats have made comments on what Dak should do and what he shouldn't do. Now, you know here our thoughts about whether Dak is worth that kind of money based on past performances, especially this past season in critical games against playoff teams and Super Bowl caliber teams, and against the Philadelphia Eagles with the NFC East Division on the line and a playoff spot against a depleted Philadelphia Eagles roster that Dak Prescott was unable to deliver. And I got games in which he could not score an offensive touchdown, and I put that on Dak. So I've already put it out there how I felt about whether Dak is worth that type of big contract, because again, to pay that kind of big contract, to me, it has to justify the level of production, especially in key moments that I did not see during the 2019 season. So that is me saying this as a Cowboys fan. However, you do know, if you have been listening to Chin Check Radio, that we are pro-athlete and we want our athletes to absolutely maximize their earning potential. Now, I've heard everything from other Cowboys fans to other sports fans that Dak Prescott should take a hometown discount. He should let the Cowboys off the hook with the deal. That'll be a team-friendly deal. Stephen Jones has negotiated through the media how it should be a team-friendly deal to keep the pieces around Dak, and people use the greatest of all time, Tom Brady, as an example. And we're going to offer our thoughts on that. So, despite my feeling personally that they should, now I'm able to separate myself from the discussions or to look at it from two different perspectives. If you're asking what I would do if I own the Cowboys, and I'll say it again, I would franchise Dak, draft the quarterback, and start getting him ready and start grooming his replacement. That's what I would do. But I'm going to take it from the angle looking at it from Dak Prescott and, quite frankly, defending Dak Prescott as he wants to be probably the highest paid quarterback in the NFL. And I, quite frankly, don't have an issue with that, because when you're a professional athlete, you don't have a long shelf life. I know Tom Brady is really the exception to the norm, so is Drew Brees. And I know now the way the rules are structured to protect the quarterbacks, you're going to have long-time quarterback play. But the thing is, are you going to have long-time good quarterback play? I don't have an issue at all with Dak Prescott holding out for more money. That is his right to do that, because, again, is he the one that's going to put his body at risk? He's the one who's going to have to live a life long after he gets through playing football. We don't know the physical pains that he has. So I personally don't have an issue with Dak Prescott, and really even as a fan, I don't have an issue with Dak Prescott looking to make upwards of $40 million a year, because that's how free agency works. It's about market value. And I agree with what Shannon Sharpe says on Undisputed. Now, I do want to I do want to discuss a couple of things. Number one, as I told my boy today, I have an issue with the sources being leaked as to how much money Dak Prescott was offered. I had a serious issue with that. Because do you want to tell me why is it that the team wants to negotiate through Dak or with Dak through the media? That should be behind closed doors between Dak and his agent. I didn't think it was right to leak that information out that you offer Dak $100 million guaranteed and $33 million a year. That is something that is released after the contract is signed and after there is a deal agreed upon, whether it's in principle or whether you guys do the press conference or whether the person signs the contracts. Just say we offer them this amount of money. Now, what that does is that it puts the onus on Dak now, because now you're kind of putting fans involved to say, wow, they offered him a lot of money, he should take it. Let me ask you a question. Did we hear about Carson Wentz's contract when the Eagles were going through contract negotiations? By the way, the same Carson Wentz who was hurt during the playoff run, during the Eagles Super Bowl run, and who did not win a playoff game this past season. That same Carson Wentz. And he got his money and nobody had an issue with that. Did we hear anything? Any pre-negotiation, any early contract that was given to Carson Wentz? We didn't hear anything about that. Did we hear anything about Jared Goff's contract before his contract was done? No, we did not. I don't think it is Dak's responsibility to give a hometown discount, and I think it was wrong to want to put the contract out there, because now you're putting the pressure on Dak to say, you see, you should take that money. Wow, that's a lot of money. And the average sports fan, and probably some of you are listening to the program right now, are going to say, wow, $100? You can pay me $100 and I would play football, and I would play football for half of that money. That's not the damn point. The damn point is pay that's relative to your profession. Let me say this again. You can sit there and tell me that professional athletes should not make X amount of money and they shouldn't be paid all that amount of money. Well, guess what? That's too damn bad. Because if you go back and listen to the broadcast that I did about the hypocrisy of NFL business, there was a lot of money going around and the players are getting a small portion of that money. A very small portion, considering that what they do on the field, the product on the field, generates billions of dollars through television deals, seats, licenses. I mean, everything. I can go down the laundry list, but go back and listen to that broadcast that I did about NFL hypocrisy and their business. So I have an issue trying to put this in the media to now people can say, well, he's making $100 million Washington contract. Let me ask you about this at your job. If you're working a job making $50,000 and another job offers you $100,000 again, with what you do for a living, whether you're a garbage man, whether you're a lawyer, whether you're the guy who's the mailroom clerk, whether you're the manager at the Walmart, at the Publix, at the Kroger, whether you're a fireman, whether you're a hairstylist, if you're working at a job and another job tells you that they're going to pay you twice the money, you're going to take that money. Loyalty be damned. So who cares about loyalty and a hometown discount? Because trust me, you're not giving your job a hometown discount. That's another thing I have an issue with. People keep putting it out there that he needs to look out for the Cowboys' best interest. It is Dak Prescott's job to look out for his best interest. It is not his job to look out for the Cowboys' best interest. It's really not. That is Jerry Jones's issue, to look out for the Cowboys' best interest. Dak Prescott's interests are for Dak Prescott and all of his friends and family and whoever he's supporting on his salary. So one has nothing to do with the other. Not a damn thing. And I found it disgusting. I was listening to or watching an undisputed debate between Shannon Sharp and the all-ignorant Skip Bayless. And Skip Bayless really tried to prove his argument how Dak should take a discount. It's about throwing it out there. Money doesn't buy happiness. Have you ever noticed when it comes to black folks, we always have to be ashamed of making money or shamed into maximizing our potential, where it's almost just, here, take these crumbs and scraps and be happy with it because, hey, you came from the ghetto. Hey, you came from the scrap heap. So any little crumbs that we give you, you need to be happy despite the fact that you earned that money. And for him to even say that money doesn't buy happiness, I agree with Shannon's response. It might not buy happiness, but let me rent it for the next 30 years. Again, when Orlando Scandrick, former Dallas Cowboy cornerback, Prescott Mills, and asked him, did he give ESPN a discount when he started to work for them? And of course, Skip sidestepped the question. When he asked him, did he give an employee discount to Fox Sports 1 before he took that job? Skip tap danced around the question. So let me ask you all, in your job, when they gave you a pay raise or you went to a new job, did you give your job a discount? No. Again, we're talking about pay relative to your profession. So despite what you might feel, athletes shouldn't be getting paid that much money. That's too damn bad. They do. And guess what? We continue to watch from our TVs or streaming services or sports bars or whatever case may be, going to the games, paying for the tickets. That stuff, that's why the NFL is the most popular sport for real in America by far. So I've always had an issue with this whole, the athlete should do what's best for the team. No, the athlete does what's best for the athlete. And I spoke about this in a previous broadcast when Emmitt Smith made a comment. And you guys know how I feel about Emmitt Smith. Love me some Emmitt Smith. Greatest running back of all time. But I had an issue with what Emmitt said, how Dak should take a hometown discount. Emmitt, are you forgetting in 1993 where you maximized your earning potential? You won the Russian title, you helped the Cowboys win the Super Bowl, and you held out for more money, and you thought Jerry was playing with you until you had to show him how much you meant to the team by holding out for the first 2 games. And next thing you know, you signed a contract that was big for that time. So let's face it, we're talking about 26, 27 years ago. For the contract at that time that you signed, you made pretty good money. But let's not forget that they had no problem signing Troy Aikman to his contract extension while you had to be deemed as the bad guy about asking for your money and, quite frankly, a more physical position. So, Emmitt, let's not flip the script. You did what you thought was best to get your money. Dak Prescott is doing what's best to get his money. And I also want to pull this article up here. Funny how when you do your research, everybody is talking about Dak Prescott should take a team discount, a hometown discount. And I want to read this article because I do remember this contract extension with now current CBS analyst Tony Romo and former Dallas Cowboys quarterback. In 2013, Tony Romo and the Cowboys agreed to a six-year extension that made him at the time the highest paid player in team history. The deal was a 6-year extension worth $108 million and $55 million guaranteed. That was more than one Joe Flacco who had just won the damn Super Bowl. I remember there wasn't a soul talking about Tony Romo should have gave the Cowboys a discount. Now, one can make an argument that that contract, it reworked some deals or lowered the cap hit. But keep this in mind, at that time and now, Tony Romo had one playoff win. Dak Prescott has one playoff win. And quite frankly, we're talking about Dak Prescott with this playoff win in less amount of years. When Tony Romo signed that deal, that was after missing the playoffs in 2010, 2011, and 2012. And I remember Jerry Jones saying that he was paying Tony Romo this money so he can do Peyton Manning type preparation in order to be great. And I had an issue with it then because either you're going to prepare like Peyton Manning before you get the money. Really after you make the money, what's going to happen? So I really didn't understand that one. But I didn't hear anybody talking about that Romo should have gotten a discount or shouldn't have maximized his earning potential because he earned a lot of money, including years that he was hurt. Go check out 2015. Anybody get on Romo that he should have gave that money back? I'm going to throw this out there. Did anybody get on Peyton Manning when he took a damn near $20 million check from the Indianapolis Colts and could not play one season because of neck injuries and neck surgeries? Nobody said anything there. So we're not going to be a hypocrite and tell Dak Prescott that he has to take a hometown discount. And here's another dumb argument that I hear a lot too. Dak should take a hometown discount because the endorsements that he makes should make up for the money. Bull malarkey. Folks, that is a totally separate thing. You can, yes, because he's a Dallas Cowboys quarterback, is how he gets the endorsements. No, Dak Prescott gets those endorsements because of who he is. Dak Prescott gets those endorsements because of how he handles himself. That's how Dak Prescott gets those endorsements. Remember, Cam Newton had endorsements before he made what I felt was a very harmless statement about a woman understanding football. So, who else? Aaron Rodgers. He plays for the Green Bay Packers, one of the smallest markets ever. He's in every single commercial that turn around. Yes, because of talent, but also because of how he carries himself. So Dak Prescott, because of how he carries himself, is the reason why he has all those endorsement deals. Ezekiel Elliott, who was supposed to be the Cowboys' best player, you don't see him on any commercial because of numerous off-the-field issues, including, even though we know that it was a bogus suspension, but being suspended for 6 games for some type of domestic violence or putting his hands on an ex-girlfriend. So their best player, Ezekiel Elliott, does not have any commercial brands or any endorsements. Dak Prescott has that. So to use that argument to say that Dak Prescott should give a hometown discount to the Dallas Cowboys because he has endorsements that should more than make up the difference, that is bull job. That is your guaranteed money that you're going to make. That, to me, that is absent of the team. One has nothing to do with the other. Absolutely not. Maximize your money, maximize your money. And this whole thing up is gonna chew up money on the salary cap. Well, you know what? That's just how the salary cap is laid out. So the NFL players, while you're deciding whether to sign the new CBA or the collective bargaining agreement, maybe y'all need to look into that. Maybe you guys need to look into why all of a sudden is there such a discrepancy between your quarterback and everybody else. Why does a quarterback eat the lion's share of the money? Because we know the quarterback is the most important position on the team. But at the same time, y'all need to look into that. And by the way, have you noticed that the NFL owners are not trying to give the players a discount or trying to give up the portion really of that money? Have you noticed that? They're really not trying to do that, are they? They're really not trying to give up, during this new CBA bargaining, a portion of the more guaranteed money. So I am all for Dak making his money and maximizing his earning potential. Now, people want to use Tom Brady. Well, you see, Tom Brady, he gave the Patriots a discount. And you know what? And I agree with what Shannon Sharp says. That is the worst thing that Brady could have done. Because to me, you did it. You did what's best for you. You can make an argument that your wife is a supermodel who makes X amount of hundreds of $millions per year. And that's great. And I know it's the whole Patriot way and stuff like that. But folks, if you haven't been paying attention, Bill Belichick every now and again has actually backed up the Brinks truck and paid people a lot of money. Look at Adelius Thomas back in 2007. Look at Stephon Gilmore. He cracked open a nice good little check in order to get these guys. Now, one can make an argument, well, because of Tom Brady gave the money up, it doesn't matter. The point is, they were still willing to pay money elsewhere. So I actually support Dak on this about getting all the money that he can. He should not take an employee discount. He should not give a hometown discount. That's not his problem. His problem is to make the money for Dak Prescott that will enable Dak Prescott to live a bright and happy future. Endorsements notwithstanding. That is his NFL money. He is the quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys. Now, say what you want about that. I have been critical about his play on the field, and rightfully so. But the way he conducts himself as a mature person, he says all the right things, never any off the field issues. Those are some of the things that you're paying for in, quote, a leader and a franchise quarterback. Those are some of the things that's what you are paying for. Because, again, you had no problems paying Tony Romo his money, and Tony Romo, quite frankly, wasn't really nearly accomplished as Dak Prescott. If you really want to compare at this stage of his career, Romo's 2007 started, they lost in the divisional round. 2008, they missed the playoffs. 2009, they won a wild card game. Okay, let's look at Dak Prescott, first year starting. Losing the divisional round, don't make the playoffs the following year, win the wild card round that third year. Same damn thing. Same thing. So, to me, the way I look at it, the ball is in Dak's court. I don't think that there should be any trying to negotiate through the media, because I know this was not done to Carson Wentz. This was not done to Jared Goff. These are the players who were in the same draft as Dak Prescott. And these figures were not leaked to the media because, again, the average sports public is so damn stupid. They're going to sit there and they're going to say, well, he needs to just make that money because that really is a lot of money. And then the other dumb argument is, well, he should take that money and give the team a discount because there's no state tax in Texas. So the hell what? To me, that's a bonus that there's no state tax in Texas. So guess what? Pay me all my money. Now, whether he is worth $40 million or not is really irrelevant. That's really irrelevant. Yeah, you can say Patrick Mahomes and Sean Watson and Lamar, and their money's coming up. But guess what? Every couple years, some player will set a brand new market. And Ndamukong Suh signed up for a lot of money when he went to the Miami Dolphins. That's just the nature of the beast. Every now and again, some player comes, because again, it's free agency. It's called striking at the right time. So a player comes along, it's their time. A team will crack open a checkbook and pay that player and reset the market. I look at Ndamukong Suh. I look at Albert Haynesworth. It is what it is. That's just the nature of the beast. So in the NFL, you're playing this game where the money is not guaranteed. You should maximize every piece of money that you can make while you still can. This is the time where the iron is hot, and strike while the iron is hot. And hold out for as long as you can, because now that puts the ball back at Jerry's court. Dak, if you're listening, brother, again, I've been critical of your play on the field. I will continue to be critical of your play on the field. However, I will back you up on this one for not following the public demands, standing your ground, sticking to your guns, and telling Jerry you're not going to accept anything less than market value. And really what you put out in front of him, if you feel that you're worth that money, yes, Dak, be worth that money, because guess what? And I'm going to say this right now, and I hope it comes across loud and clear. You don't see them coming at white quarterbacks telling them what they should and what they shouldn't make, and they should take a hometown discount, and they should do this and they do that. Nobody cares about that, and nobody hears about that. But when it comes to some of these black quarterbacks, now all of a sudden as well, the money this and the money that. You saw what happened with Russell Wilson. Seattle wanted to play games with his damn money. He talked about going to the New York Giants. Next thing you know, he's on Instagram in bed with his wife, Ciara, talking about that the deal was done. So we're definitely not going to do that. When it comes to the white quarterbacks, y'all crack open the checkbooks quick. I just read you Tony Romo's money, and they crack open the checkbooks even before their deals, even before their current deals, they even run out. So we're not going to start doing that. But now when it comes to the black quarterbacks, just be happy and take these scraps and just take what we're going to give you, and just we're going to pay you close to what these other guys make. No, if I'm your starting quarterback and I'm your franchise quarterback, you're going to pay me more than these guys, and if anything, we're going to reset the market. So I actually support Dak in what he's doing, despite my feelings about whether he deserves that money, despite my feelings on that. But just from how we are at Chin Check Sports Radio, we are all for athletes making as much money as they can and having no remorse, qualms, or compunction about it. Salary cap be damned. That is not the quarterback's problem or the athlete's problem to worry about the team issues. That's for Jerry to worry about who's getting paid and where, because you had no problems paying money top dollar to an offensive line who, by the way, in 2019 did not look like a top offensive line. You had no problems paying DeMarcus Lawrence, who did deserve that money based on 2 years plus a damn good performance, but I got total of 6.5, maybe 7 sacks this entire season. So you had no business cutting the checks then. So I need you to cut the check now with Dak, and I can go back from other players, the Marion Barbers and the Ken Hamlins and the Roy Williams, and I can think, I'm talking about Roy Williams, a wide receiver. One can make an argument Des Bryant. One can make an argument Tony Romo. Shelled out a lot of money on these players, and you had no issues doing that. Now, one can make an argument that Jerry and Steven are learning from their past and not doling out big contracts, but this is something that should have been taken care of last year. So, despite how I feel about Dak's production, whether he deserves the money, despite how I feel about that, I actually support Dak in what he's doing. Another ridiculous thing I heard from a guy at work who said that they should make the contract incentive laden. Folks, okay. If you're laying your life, if you're putting your health at risk all the time to get on the field, if you really want to make a contract incentive laden, then let's take your job and where you work at and make that an incentive laden place. Because sales don't work on commissions if you want to do that. But let's start making every single job incentive laden, or you have to reach some type of performance standard or clause really in order to get your money. So I feel that's the rather asinine statement. Again, it only comes when it's to some of the black quarterbacks and some of the black players. Now all of a sudden it turns into performance standards. So I really could care less about that. You're going to pay these people what they're worth, because again, you had no issues paying Peyton Manning for all these years. You had no issues paying Drew Brees. Had no issues paying Aaron Rodgers. You had no issues paying Carson Wentz. You had no issues paying Jared Goff. So you need to pay Dak Prescott what he's worth, and Dak, brother, keep holding out for all the money that you can. All right, this is Chin Check Radio. Until the next time.